Hi everyone, welcome to Jie Podcast. I'm Celine and that's Sarah. Today we are going to have a slightly controversial topic, and that is bad parents.
So we should put out a disclaimer first that we are not qualified in any ways to criticize parenting methods. But we are just here to share our opinions.
Yeah, but both of us
but we are
not parents.
Children of parents.
Yes. So okay, I actually thought of this topic, right, because a lot of people are cutting their parents out of their lives. So a lot of adult kids and sometimes even teenagers, like late teenagers or
Adult kids.
they're like adult children, right? I mean, you're adult, you're still children of people, right? Yeah, but a lot of adults are starting to cut their parents out of their lives, or at least that's what I hear on TikTok. And a lot of teenagers, they also say like, the moment I turn 18, I mean, this is usually in like Western countries. The moment I turn 18,
Western countries,
I'm going to leave my home. Yeah, and I am never going to contact my family again. So that kind of...
I feel like I said something like this when I was like 14 or...
No, but I think...
After I fight with my mom.
I think a lot of them... Okay, actually a lot of them, right?
They're quite serious. Like, when they share their stories.
They actually have a lot of good reasons why they want to leave their house. So today we're actually going to talk about like bad parents and what we think bad parents are. And I think kind of bring it back to Singapore's context, because I think Singapore, we still have a lot of like the mindset, right, that your parents raised you, and no matter how bad they are, they're still your parents. So you have to look after them, and you know you're kind of responsible for them after you become an adult, because no matter what they did to you in the past, they raised you. So we're just also going to talk a little bit more on the Asian perspective on that. So
okay,
let's start with the term mom shamers, and I'm just going to start with this. Do you think it's wrong to shame moms? Okay, so let me just clarify what mom shaming is. So mom shaming is bullying other moms for their parenting choices in subtle and sometimes not so subtle aggressions sprinkled into playgroup conversations. So they say here is a small way for some women to gain stature among a group by tearing others down. And as horrible as it sounds, it's an easy trap to fall into. So actually,
wait, so I cannot think of an example. So it's like, you don't send your kids for piano lessons?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what they meant by mom shamers. But at first, when every time people say things like, oh, don't shame parents or don't shame moms, I got kind of confused, because sometimes there are things that parents do that I really feel are outrightly wrong. So to just kind of give an example and explain a bit further, I have a few scenarios here which we are going to go through. Okay, so the first one is, what would you shame a mom if the mom teaches their child that it's wrong to bully others by shaving off their hair? So this has been done before.
No, but I remember the context for this is that this kid bullied this other kid that didn't have hair because he had cancer.
I know. I'm just saying, would you go to that?
I agree with the mother,
because
I'm on the mom's side.
I think
for this like situation.
Okay. Because I mean,
but I wouldn't post it. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, because these people, right, after they do this, they will post it online. And I feel like that is really a large scale humiliation of their own kid.
Okay.
So would you as a third party then say that this is bad behavior? You shouldn't as a parent be doing that. Is that wrong for you to say then? I personally think
the shaving part, right, I agree with the mom, but if I were her, I wouldn't post it.
Yeah, so
because it's going to stay on the internet forever.
Exactly.
Like, you just want to teach the kid a lesson, right? But yeah, it can't be erased from the internet. So no, I wouldn't post it. But it wouldn't be the extent where I will tell the mom, oh, you shouldn't do this.
Okay, another one is pranking kids. So recently, this Naomi Neo, a very famous influencer in Singapore, she kind of got a bit of flack for pranking her kids, because she has a son And she liked to prank her son to the point that he starts to cry for views. Okay, I can't think of any other reason, but it's really for views because she will post it on TikTok. So one of the things she did was to lock her son. Like, she put her phone, and then like a very, very scary ghost will appear, and then a very sinister laughing sound. And she locked the bathroom door, and her son was so scared he was jumping in the bathroom and trying to get out and crying. Another one was she booked the whole family was supposed to go vacation in Australia, and then she kept telling her son like, oh, I forgot to buy your tickets, I'm so sorry baby, mommy forgot to buy your tickets, you stay at home, okay? And at first the son didn't believe her, but she kept insisting that she forgot about him until he cried, until he was so upset and he started to cry. So again, all these things posted online for views, would you think it's wrong to go there and say, I think that is horrible?
I mean, if you post these kind of things online, I feel like you're subjected to strangers' judgments.
So you think it's okay to go there and say things like, I think that's really horrible, or I think
I feel like she should have expected it.
I feel the
It's
same
something
way.
you should expect.
I feel the same way. When you post things online,
If you want to prank your kid for fun, don't post it online.
yeah,
Like, there's no other reason that I can think of why like you want to post it online other than to share, like
get views.
attention. Yeah.
Okay, and the next thing is, what about parents who don't vaccinate their kids? So there's this term called crunchy mums, right? And and the first time I heard of these crunchy mums on TikTok, I was like, what is that? What's the term come from? But actually, crunchy mums are just hippie mums. Like I found the definition online, and they call them neo hippies. So these neo hippies don't vaccinate their kids. Their kids must eat all organic, GMO free, like I don't know, free range food and gluten free, all that kind of stuff. And then they believe in like very natural, no medicine, very natural growing, all that kind of stuff. Do you think that makes them bad parents? That would you say, oh, they're shit parents?
But the intentions are good, right?
Most people, I would say their intentions are good.
Yeah.
Okay,
I feel like they are bad parents, even though their intentions are good. Because for me, I feel the way that you raise your child, right, it must be in a way that such that after you die, right, the child can survive on their own.
Yeah.
So like for anti-vaxxers and then like the organic kind of lifestyle, it requires a lot of money.
That's true.
You don't know whether the kid can earn like that much money to be able to support that lifestyle.
So one of the accounts I heard from TikTok, right, is that the kids, so this is the girl, and her mom was or still is a crunchy mom, and she said as she grew up, she felt very, very isolated, and she even considered it a form of abuse, because she said things like, when she goes over to her friend's house and her friend's dad made like bread and pudding, biscuits and gravy for like everyone to eat, and she couldn't even eat what her friend's parents made. Instead, her mother made her sit there and eat apples while she watched all her other friends eat.
That's so sad.
Yeah, so actually she said that she felt like growing up with a crunchy mom is so isolating, and she even called it abusive. So I don't know, would you consider this kind of parents? Yeah, so is it okay to shame this type of parents?
But if you shame this type of parents, right, they don't know that they are doing something wrong. They think that they are right.
Yeah, I agree. This is a very interesting like psychology thing, right? Like when people, you have a group of them, when you have a group
they don't
of people,
understand. There's no point shaming them.
the more you shame them, the more they are like, no, this is like capitalism coming against me or whatever. Okay, so those are just a few examples that I thought of where related to like mom or parent shaming in general. So I don't know, I guess, because I thought it was quite a strange thing to say, like parents get very defensive online when people attack their way of parenting. Very, very, very defensive. And so I remember one of the things that that also made me think of this topic is because there's this, I don't know if it's a trend or whatever it is. It's this thing that parents started picking up their newborn babies without supporting their necks, and then they call this a newborn scrunch. So traditionally, right, every time you pick up babies, you are supposed to support their neck because they have no muscles in their neck, so their neck will basically be thrown behind if you don't support them. But parents nowadays think it's very cute to pick their baby up from the body and then they post it online again. And so obviously when they post these type of things online, a lot of people go onto their comments and say like, oh, you should support the baby. Why are you doing this? Just, like why are you holding your baby like that and posting it online just for the views? Because one thing I cannot understand.
Do they know that they need to support the baby's neck?
I don't know.
Because it sounds like a new parent's mistake.
No, these people are literally posting. There are so many people posting online in their comments that you should hold your baby properly. But it is a thing that people like to do to like, oh, I this is my baby. I know how to take care of my baby. And you shouldn't be giving me unsolicited advice on how I should hold my own baby. So just for the sake of argument, right, and for clarity, I actually went to Google, is it okay to not support your baby's head? And when I went to Google, most of the articles say that you should support your baby's head. So again, I'm not a parent. I didn't actually speak to a doctor about it. One day when I speak to a doctor about it, I can come back and say whether it's the doctor say yes or no. But it's this type of things I find very strange that people post online, because I don't believe these people who post online, right, they don't know that it's controversial.
Really?
Yeah, I don't believe. Because things like, how can you, even if you are very clueless, okay, and you pick up a baby and your baby's head literally, you just listen first. Your baby's head literally, it flops backwards when you're carrying up your baby. Okay, it just doesn't make sense to me that it is not instinct for you to hold it up. Okay, it just doesn't seem like it's not instinct. If you are holding the baby's head when it's newborn, right, I think it's the heaviest part of his body. And it's literally being thrown backwards because of the weight. Can you imagine someone pick you up like that and then your head is so big? I just don't believe that it is not instinctual, first of all, to hold up their head. So that's why I say sometimes I feel like people post all these sort of things online, right? I don't know what is their end goal of posting it, because you don't want to get criticism. Are you expecting people to praise you? I don't understand.
I believe that there are really clueless people out there.
I'm sure there are some really, really clueless people, but the number of people who are doing this, right, it cannot be all of them are clueless. And for all I know, it may be okay to hold your baby like that. I really don't know. I'm just saying, why are you posting things that you know will be controversial online and get upset when people come and tell you that you shouldn't be holding it that way, and then say like, oh, this unsolicited advice, I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't understand why.
Okay, I'll never post my kids online. I don't want all these comments.
Okay,
but I wouldn't post my kids online.
In general.
Yes, in general. Even if it's a very harmless picture, I wouldn't post it online.
Okay. Okay,
so like all these scenarios that you gave, right? It's very difficult to say it's very difficult to pinpoint whether it's abusive or not.
That's true. But my point of giving the scenarios is, when people do this type of things and somebody comments on their behavior, whether it's unwarranted or not. Because there are a lot of people who do things. Not everything other people do I will agree, and sometimes if I think that they are harming their kids, you might want to say. And whether just the act of you telling this person, is it wrong of you to go and to tell this parent that what they're doing is wrong.
No, I don't think it's wrong. Like if it's just I don't think you should do this, I think that's fine. But if it's like if the comment is like, oh you're a bad parent, you shouldn't be a mom, you know, that kind of thing. I think that's a little bit like more of like cyberbullying, no?
I really think it depends on what they have done. There are parents, there are people outright that I really, really think that they should not be parents.
But will you comment?
It really depends on how abusive it is. Okay, I tell you some my reason for that, right?
Okay, like the mom that shaved the head, will you comment? Do you find it abusive?
I think it's wrong, but I personally will not comment. But if let's say I know this mother in person, if it's my friend, I will say something. I won't tell a stranger.
Online, right?
I would. To be honest, I don't agree with them shaving the head in the first place. So I would tell the parent like, I seriously don't think you should have done that.
Why? No. Okay, I feel like the mom's intention, right, was for the kid to know how it feels like to not have hair, like the kid, like his classmate that had cancer. I feel like that was her intention.
I just don't think that shaving a kid's head is the way to go. And for me, if even for this type of things, if it's my friend, if I know them personally, I would have told my friend, I don't think you should do it.
Okay. Just don't post online.
No, I don't think you should shave the head, and I even more don't think you should post online. I feel like you even shaving the head just shows that you have I feel like that is a very, very bad way of teaching your kids.
Okay.
And okay, so the next one is okay, so then we'll talk about this. What are bad parents to us?
Okay, you can start first.
So we're talking so much about like shaming parents and all that, but let's just go into more specifically. What behaviors would we consider bad parenting? Okay, and I just remember this. Some people on, again, TikTok, where I get all my information from, they always say this: parents who just do the legal minimum to keep their kids alive. So people who just feed their kids, people who give their kids shelter, food, clothing, and send them to school, but don't do more than that. I would.
That's a bad parent to you?
Yeah.
What if the parent fulfills all of that, but doesn't give the kid any trauma?
I'm talking about how, if let's say your parent, right, only does the bare legal minimum to keep you alive, right, like to make sure that it's not considered abuse. There's a lot of things like you don't, if this is more common than it actually seems to be, right? There are a lot of parents who don't show their children any attention, any love, any safety. So when their children come to them with problems, they can't be bothered. They can't be bothered about their kid. You know, there are some people, after they give birth to their kid, then they kind of regret having their kid, and then they're kind of, you know, they kind of remain their distance, distant from their kid. I feel like that is a bad parent though. I'm not saying people who work, okay, like you really have to work and earn money and to raise your kids, but parents, there are parents who really don't care, and you're like, okay, this is my, you see the kid like, okay, shit, this is my responsibility. Now I have to give it food. Has a nice room, okay. Not even a nice room.
It's like growing a plant.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I really sympathize with those people, because even though you have the physical things to survive, right, you feel so unwanted and you feel like such a burden. You're just like,
I was thinking,
why am I here? Why am I here? If you know, then after that you're like, oh shit, okay, you're 18, goodbye. Oh, parents who, yeah, then I don't know, in the Western countries, there seems to be a lot of parents who are just waiting for the day to come when they can kick their kid out of their house. They're like, oh shit, 18 is coming finally. You know what I mean? I feel that's very strange.
Actually, I was thinking more like when you say the bare minimum, right? I was thinking more like parents who don't have a choice, but they have to work a lot to support their kids. Because they won't have time to, they won't be able to spend a lot of time with the kids also, right? Because they are trying to keep the kid alive.
I feel for this type
I don't think that's their fault.
No, I think these type of parents, right? The kids can tell that their parents love them. But there are people who don't like their kids. And that's what I mean. There are parents who, of course, they are struggling, but you know, you love your kids as much as you can give your kids. You try and give your kids, but there are parents who they're like, my responsibilities are up to here, and this is all that I am willing to do. Okay, so the rest of it, that's what I meant.
Okay, in a way, I find that in a way that they're responsible. Like bad parents to me is really they just throw the kid like aside. They don't even do the bare minimum.
Okay. There are parents like that too. Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, I mean, obviously we are excluding the obvious. Like obviously, don't murder your kids, don't abuse your kids, and all that kind of shit, right? That's the obvious. That's the obviously bad parents.
Okay, so we are talking about the grayer kind of
the grayer
parents.
Area. Yes. Another one I think is very bad, right? Are parents who don't protect their kids, and I don't mean like protect from like everything. Obviously, you cannot protect your kids from the world. I'm talking about very serious things. So in Singapore, right, there are a lot of cases of sexual assault. Fathers, grandfathers, uncles, just general relatives assaulting minors. A lot. I don't know why in the past few years, almost every other, is it month? No, definitely every month there is a report of family members assaulting kids. And a lot of times the parents, okay, that's not either the mother or the father, right, who knows about this, doesn't do anything to protect their kids. And that just makes me I feel that is a terrible parent. Even though they are not the ones that are doing it themselves, but I feel like there is a terrible, terrible, terrible parent. And I think there are a lot of reasons, like, I won't even say there are reasons, okay, I feel like they are just excuses of why people don't go and report. First of all, they will say things like, they are scared, don't know what usually it's the father, so they say the mother will say like, I don't know what, the guy will do if we go and report. Or the second one is like, if we divorce, then the family will be broken. And I find that this excuse is so common that mothers will say things like, I didn't want the family to be broken. The moment your husband starts assaulting your kid, your family is shattered. Okay, your family is already shattered. There's no such thing as, I didn't report to police, so my family is intact. Like, what's the logic? I don't get it. And then, or they say things like, if we leave, I will have no money. I have no skills. I cannot support my kid myself. So things like that. And I don't know, every time I listen to all these kids, because if you're so young, and a lot of these are kids who are like below 10 years old, you have nowhere to go. You really have nowhere to go. Even if you go and tell, like, I don't know how it works out if you actually tell a teacher, and what if that teacher doesn't want to help you, if that teacher doesn't say anything, or the teacher doesn't believe you, the teacher doesn't want to get into trouble, the teacher might assume like, you're just anyhow accusing your parents. What are you going to do? You are such a young kid, and your parents are not even willing to protect you. I feel like that is really horrible. Yeah. So that to me is bad parents.
But that's not a grey reason. I think that's a very black reason.
Yeah, a lot of I don't know. I feel right, like sometimes people sympathize with the person,
the mom,
who doesn't want to report. But I feel like that is too much at the expense of the kid. That's why I included them in my bad parents.
Okay. For me, it's like parents who make the kid feel bad about themselves or like hate themselves. So I give an example. Yolanda Hadid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, based on the things that she says on like TV and like things that people post online, right? The way she treated Bella Hadid, right? I don't find that she's a good mom. Like, I don't know, maybe she's a very loving mom, like behind the screen, but just based on the things that we can see online, I think she's not a very good mom to Bella Hadid.
Okay, so another type of parents, right?
Okay.
Grey area parents. What do you think of tiger parents?
Okay, I didn't grow up with one, and I don't intend to be one. But I have friends who have tiger moms, right? And then, okay, it's not like they are very, very traumatized, but their relationship is not the best after they grow up.
So this term came up like a few years ago, right? Or at least got very popular a few years ago because there was this book that came out called The Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it. It's by Amy Chua. And so in this book, just now I was just reading it to like reading a synopsis to remember what she has done again, right? So one of the things that she did is to her younger daughter when she was practicing the piano, and she threatened to donate her daughter's toys to the Salvation Army if she didn't get a piece perfect by the next day. So she put her daughter's dollhouse in the car ready to send it off, and then the daughter was quite sick of her at that time already. So the daughter just said, "Why aren't you leaving for the Salvation Army then?" Then she threatened yeah, and I think that time the girl was still quite young. She threatened to not have any birthday presents for years or ground her or whatever, and no bathroom breaks, no dinner breaks, nothing, until she got it perfect. But then
That's very extreme. Are the kids grateful to her?
she said at the end of this whole story, she said, "Oh, but the moment my daughter got it perfect, she wanted to play over and over again." I don't know if she's telling the truth. But just this type of action, right? Just this type of action, I feel like that's unbalanced behavior.
What do you mean by unbalanced behavior? Like, you think that she's crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's crazy.
No, but like, to what extent? Why are you so obsessed? Okay, but let's okay. Let me just.
Maybe from her point of view, she thinks that she's helping the child to be the best.
That's exactly what she thought. So the philosophy of a lot of these tiger moms, right, is that they believe that their child can be the best, but they're just lazy. So they need a tiger mother to push them. So I've seen also a lot of like schedules that come out from these tiger parents, right, that they literally fill their kids' calendars, like not Amy Chua lah, but like other people who post online. They fill their kids' calendars with activities from the morning until the night. Literally, in the morning wake up and then do like exercise, and then after that they have to like do practice or whatever, then go to school. After they come back to school, they have like swimming or like taekwondo, whatever it is, until the night. Yeah, every time is full. And
That's so sad.
yeah, don't you feel like that's so sad?
No, the thing is, I don't know why you want to have a child and then implement all these kind of schedules in your life. Like, what is the intention? I feel like you want them to be the best, right? It doesn't justify the reason why you're having this child.
How to say? I feel like the kid, right, eventually will feel like you are just, if I don't do well, you don't love me. My mother won't love me. If I don't score like 90 and above for my maths, my mother won't love me. That kind of thing.
It sounds like a job.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Like all these things, it sounds like job trainings, And then your reward is your mom's love. Okay, I have this friend, right? He's a teacher, and then he said that kids, right, they actually need routine. They need to have a routine. So to a certain extent, right, I think I'll instill this, but it's not to the point that like, their timetable will be filled. That's so sad. I think my benchmark will be, if I can't even do all these things, right, I won't even ask my kid to do all these things.
I feel like I had the very opposite. I didn't have a routine growing up. Like I really didn't have a very set routine. Even my sleeping time, right, is very flexible. So
I had a fixed sleeping time when I was younger.
yeah, mine wasn't. So the way I grew up also was very like especially if I had no school, you know, it's like I can do whatever I want at any time. Which I guess it's not the best because I don't have a lot of routine, right? I don't have a lot of discipline. It's true that after that I didn't have a lot of discipline. So for a lot of my life, right, for a lot of my younger years, I would say I have no discipline and perseverance to complete anything. Until I turned
Oh no, that sounds like me.
until I went to poly, right, and then I joined taekwondo, and then I had a goal. Then I started to set goals for myself, which is okay. By the time I complete poly, I want to get a black belt. So I like tell myself I cannot quit taekwondo until I have gotten my black belt, which I haven't gotten my black belt until today lah. But that's for a very legit reason.
At least you have a goal.
I had a very legit reason for not getting a black belt, but yeah, and that's when I was in poly that I started to tell myself, like, if I ever want to achieve anything out of my life, I need to have goals that I can reach. Because a lot of things, right, that when I was younger also, things like I learned ballet or like tap dancing, I had no end goal of when am I going to accomplish what I want to accomplish. You know, it's like, oh, I just every week go for class. But I'm like, when am I going to stop going for these classes? If I could tell myself back then, like, okay, I knew like, okay, ballet I want to learn until, I don't even know what the grades in ballet, but let's say there's a piano, I want to learn until grade 8 in piano. I can tell myself, okay, you're almost there. You're now at grade 4 already. Just finish what you have started. But last time I got no concept of that. I'm just like, I'm tired. I want to play. Please. Let me be free.
Oh no. Okay, my parents did give me like a little bit of pressure in primary school, but it's not to that point like the who's that Amy. But I don't think it helped. Like this discipline thing, right, didn't really like help me in the later part of my life. Like how do I put it? And just now when you talk about setting goals, right? Like I realized, recently I learned driving, right? Then I told you I wanted to quit after 4 classes. So when you say that, right, I thought of that. And then I told my dad, right? He's just, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe to a certain extent, right? I mean, I told him that, right? I wanted him to tell me, no, you better finish this because I'm paying.
Oh.
But he's just like, okay. So yeah, I get it why kids need some pressure in life.
A lot as I grow older and older, I start to understand why parents want to control their kids. Because I'm starting to have the feeling of that next time when I have kids, I want to control them too. And I mean, like, I'm aware of this feeling now, so I'm like trying to, like, stop the feeling from growing. But I just tell you why, right? Because at 25, I suddenly start to have a lot of regrets. Not regrets, but things that maybe I look back and I'm like, I could have done better. I could have done more. I could have done more of my time. I could have studied harder. I could have, done something more productive.
Okay, I get it.
And when I am...
My parents just let me quit whatever I didn't like. That's why I have no talents. So I get it when you say that.
Yeah, so at this age, right, like things like I at this age, I wish I had listened to my parents. I wish I listened to what they say. And even things, okay, like my dad used to tell me, like, don't go into poly, go into JC. And nothing wrong with going to poly. It's just that at my age, not at my age, but me personally, I had no idea what I even wanted to do. No idea. So I had no business going into poly, seriously. No business going into poly. I didn't want to listen because I was so stubborn. And he used to tell me last time, if you study hard, you can apply for scholarships and then you won't have to be competing with other people for jobs, because usually scholarship kind of jobs, right? If I had listened, I wouldn't be job searching. Actually, I wouldn't be doing a podcast today. I probably have a job. So
I also have a job. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm sitting here at 12:45 in the afternoon. No, but okay, like, I mean, I'm looking for a job now.
But were you happy with your childhood?
Yeah, I was happy with my childhood.
Because like after I told you all these incidents, right, when my parents just let me give up stuff, right, I realized like it did impact on my personal beliefs. Like, now I feel that if I'm not happy, right, I won't do it. Like, if I want to do something, I need to be happy doing it. So that's my like how do I say?
Perspective.
That's the way I go about doing a lot of things.
Oh.
Which I don't think is a bad thing. Like, so far I have not suffered the consequences of that. It's just that I cannot drive. That's the worst.
I think my regret is that maybe I could have been further in life, but I don't think that. Okay, like, yeah, you're right, like, learning piano, I mean, it didn't affect it's not affecting my life now. I wanted to. I don't think if I learned to grade 8, I'd be doing anything with piano now anyway.
Okay, so you don't find that parents who make their children like learn piano until like grade 8 is do you think that it's okay? They should do that. It's good that they do that.
I have no answer for this.
Cause okay, I told my friend before, like, if I have a kid, right, I wouldn't make them score at least 90% like for everything. But there are two things that I would want my kid to, like, two skills that I want my kid to have, which is they can speak 4 languages and can play a musical instrument.
Can you speak 4
And then
languages?
my friends, yeah, precisely. Then my friend was like, "Can you speak 4 languages?" Then I'm just like, "Oh, I just have to find a husband that speaks 2 other languages different from me." And like, it's just a joke.
I thought.
No, but
Okay.
no, this I feel like it's a useful skill to have.
There are plenty of people.
And then they say I'm not. They say that it's not nice. Like, you shouldn't insist like this kind of thing on your kids.
There are plenty of people who get by in this world just knowing English, okay? So I wouldn't say, I wouldn't insist that they learn 4 languages, but I agree it's a nice skill to have, but I kind of feel like English you need to know. Most other languages is optional. You don't really need to know it to survive.
Really? I feel like you should know Chinese also.
I feel you need to know Chinese if you're planning to go to China and work.
I feel like the way like this world is like moving, right? You should know Chinese.
I feel like, okay, I personally think not in our generation. It won't happen in our generation. But I already know Chinese, so it doesn't matter to me. But like, I mean, like, I don't think that happened in our generation. I'm just saying that. Okay, then the second question is, what musical instrument? What is the purpose of knowing?
They can choose.
No, what is the purpose of
Because I
learning a
don't
musical
want them
instrument?
to. I told you, because my parents didn't insist, right? That's why I have no talents. So I don't want them to be like me.
Okay, I will not have this type of requirements for my kid. I think okay, before I make my kid take anything, or if they, for me last time is I see my friends do, and then I'm like, oh, I also want to try, which I think is a good thing to just explore your interests. What I would have done, right, is I would say, if you want to take this up, you have to take this up for a minimum amount of time before you give up.
Okay. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so
That's a good idea.
yeah, so instead of saying things like, oh, you take this up already, you cannot quit, because that's like, how would I know if I like it if I never try? You know what I mean? So I would say, like, okay, you at least learn the basics, and then from the basics, if you feel like you really, really don't like it, then you quit, and maybe you can try something else. But don't be like every 2 weeks you are down there trying to sign up for a new class. I'll be like, what are you doing?
Please don't. Okay, if I really do this to my kid, please don't say that I'm abusive mom.
I won't say you're abusive. I will
have
ask you.
I have a justification for the languages part. Okay, other than it's a useful skill to have, right? I realize it's so much easier to learn languages when you were younger.
I disagree, but okay. I think it's easier now.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
because I can speak Thai since for like a very long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then reading and writing, I only learned it like within the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if I had to compare to like learning English and Chinese when I was way younger, right? I feel like it was so much easier last time. Even though my brain is more developed now.
I guess now I'm learning Korean, right? And I would say to me it's much easier. Much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Even the writing is easier. Just because now that I'm more aware, right? I can pick up on patterns more easily. Pick up on like language patterns, language usage. When I'm a kid, if you tell me like, oh, you only can use this in certain situations, right? I don't have the context to understand what you're talking about. And I feel like now when I look at words, I can remember like, oh, okay, it's supposed to be like this or it's supposed to be like that much faster than I could have last time. Last time when I was learning Chinese, I always cry because I don't know what I'm writing. Because Chinese, if you ever try to learn, I think Chinese people all say, right, I googled, right, it's the hardest language to learn it's the hardest language to learn. And I agree with that because every single
you
character,
can only memorize.
yeah, you have to memorize. I remember last time when I was young, every time I look, let's say a word with that has the yuan, the like square, then inside you have like all the different characters, right? Yeah, all the different things. I always mix it up, and then I'm like, I don't know what I'm writing. And even when somebody then later they bring the paper to me and ask me, what are you writing, right? I cannot tell you what I'm writing because I look at it, I'm like, it may be this, it may also be that, well. I don't know. Yeah. Let's talk about this. I have okay. So just now you were saying you want to be a fun mom next time. Can you tell me what a fun mom? What is a non-fun mom and a fun mom?
Okay, non-fun mom is very obvious, like the tiger mom. But like a fun mom, right? Okay, I think I know you're going to disagree. It's like Phil Dunphy. That's what a fun parent is like to me.
You need to give more context when you say all these people. Like
Okay,
Modern
so
Family.
He's,
like at least say he's from Modern
Family.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's from Modern Family and he's just like happy-go-lucky. His maturity level is like his kids. It's just a fun parent to be with. Like he feels like a parent that you can tell your problems to. Kind. And I kind of will sit on the roller coaster with you.
So okay. So the question then I have is: are you going to make your husband the bad cop? Because these type of parents, right? These type of parents, they always like to play.
You need to have one good, one bad.
Bad cop and good cop, and I think that is very bad. You think that you need to have
one. Yeah, correct. You need to have one.
I think
not good and bad, but one strict and one fun parent.
I feel like, right, a lot of parents in a lot of these type of relationships, this type of parents, right, it's usually the mom is the bad cop and the dad is the naturally the fun one. And I tell you why, right? I find that Phil Dunphy was such a bad husband, and why I wrote it here, because he's always making his wife the bad cop. So I also heard, and of course this is just Modern Family, it's just a show, so you just watch it for fun, but I'm just using him as an example because I think a lot of people watch Modern Family. But I read this before, that this mother was writing that she saw her kids playing with her husband after he come back from work in a sand pit, and they were having a lot of fun while she was inside preparing dinner, because if she didn't prepare dinner, they won't have anything to eat afterwards. And she looked at her husband having so much fun, and she thought to herself, why can't I also be the fun parent? I also want to be the fun parent. But because every time she is the one disciplining the kids, she's the one telling them to go and clean up before you have dinner, because everything that happens afterwards, right, if they come into the house they don't clean themselves or they have nothing to eat, it will become her problem. It will not become her husband's problem. So I also think, I feel very bad for moms also, because when you have a kid, right, or if now I'm thinking of having a kid, I don't imagine myself nagging at my kid, or I don't immediately think of myself scolding my kid. The image that most women have when they think of having kids is, like reading a storybook to your child, or, bringing them to the park. They also want to be the fun parent, but you cannot be the fun parent. Yeah, you cannot be the fun parent if the other parent is not stepping up. So that's why I feel like Phil Dunphy was a really, really horrible husband. So many times he threw his wife under the bus. Like, anything strict or anything that needs discipline, you go and ask your mother to do. And a lot of girls, right, last time when I was in poly, there's this girl, she really didn't like her mom, but she liked her dad because her dad let her do everything, but her mom is the one who's always nagging her. And it's not like a ha-ha problem, right? It really become a big problem for her because she started to get very resentful of her mother. But a lot of times, if you think, even for my own parents, right, my mother is usually the one like telling me to do this and do that, do this and do that. But if I didn't do it, it's not my father who's going to do it. It's my mother who has to clean up everything. So things like, even if let's say I want to go and eat fast food, or like I want to eat, last time I like to eat McDonald's, if I get very, very sick from eating all the McDonald's, the one who's going to look after me every day is going to be my mother. It's not my father. So I grow older, I can understand the perspective of why it's so difficult for moms to be like the fun mom. And so I also make it my point that I'm not going to make my husband a bad cop also, because I don't want my kids to start resenting him as well. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like there must be balance.
Yeah, but it's quite difficult to achieve. But you don't find that a lot of girls, right? Especially girls, right? Like your mother say you cannot do something, then you go and ask your father. Then your father will tell, your mother just worrying too much, or like your mother like she's just nagging, like just brushing off the concerns. Even sometimes it may be unreasonable concerns, but sometimes there are legit concerns that they just brush off and say like, never mind, it's okay, I will talk to her, I will look after it. And then they just end up telling the wife, you can't you just do it, or you do it, you know that kind of thing.
Okay.
That's why it made me, when I was watching Phil Dunphy, I don't find that he's a good husband. Like I find that he's
Really?
appreciate his character. I appreciate his character for being cute. Like he's innocent and he's a fun dad. I think he's a good dad, but the way he acts as a husband is pretty bad, I feel.
David, what if I'm that spouse?
What spouse? They always throw your husband under the bus?
Yes.
Actually, I highly doubt you will be. I highly doubt you will be the fun parent.
Really? You feel like I'll be the screaming type?
I don't think necessarily you will scream,
Maybe
but I
I'm
feel like you
screaming.
will
I'm not
put
the
them in
screaming
place.
type.
I feel like you will put them in place yourself.
Because my patience is thin.
Yeah, I don't think you are the kind who will be like, go and like if your kid do something stupid, like really very disrespectful, right? I don't think you will be the kind that say like, oh, never mind, it's okay. I feel like if your kid tell you,
No, that's a bit too much, right? Like it's something disrespectful. I feel like even a fun parent would tell the kid to stop that behavior, though.
it's a different way. Some people just say like, okay, let's say right, there was the old person, right, and your kid running that time, they go and shove the old person. Okay, there are some people,
no.
right, who will say like, oh, it's just an accident. It's just an accident. They're just kids. But I don't think that you're the type who will just say that. I feel like for me, if my kid did that, I would say you go and apologize. I
Say
wouldn't.
sorry.
Yeah,
to
I wouldn't let them brush it off. But there are parents who will just be like, oh, never mind. And then the other one will say, no, you have to go and say sorry. Then that's, how they start fighting. You know what I mean?
Huh? Oh, that's sad if you fight over that.
Yeah, I'm just saying lah. I'm just saying that I don't feel like you are that type that will just if your kid is doing something obviously wrong, that you will just brush it off.
Oh, but I don't want to become the bad cop.
Is it?
I don't want to become naggy. Oh no. Actually, that's what my mom said to me also. She said when she was younger, right? She said she didn't want to become naggy also. So sometimes she nag at me, then I'll be like, oh my god, why do you have so many things to say? Then she say, do you actually think that I want to be like that? When I was like your age, I was also very gentle and soft spoken. But it's after I become a mom, I have to become like this.
I think it's true.
And I believe her.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
her.
I think it's true. I last time in my counselling class, the counselling teacher, she always tell us that, not she always, but she will say like, people who have postpartum depression, or sometimes when the women after they have children, their demeanor change, it's because the situation has changed, and depending on how much support they have from their family or their spouse, they will change accordingly. Because now you have a new baby to look after, you have a kid to look after, you cannot be behaving the same way you were when you were not a mother anymore.
Oh no, I don't become naggy. Because I know how it feels to be nagged at. It's like left ear in and right ear out.
Everybody has been nagged. I don't think anybody said next time I'm going to be naggy.
Oh no.
No, you know, sometimes like,
Okay.
I don't know, it throws Sam under the bus a bit, but like sometimes he used to also be a bit naggy. So I will also tell him, right, can you stop being so naggy? You're not my parent. And I feel like that is actually, I stopped saying that also, and he also stopped nagging lah. But it's very hurtful to say, because he's nagging at me because I should have been doing something that I was not doing. And instead of,
so you deserve to be nagged.
yeah,
Okay,
so
actually a lot of people
instead
deserve
of
to be
it
nagged.
being, now when I call him naggy, right, it's like I'm saying something bad about him, rather than it's actually me. I should be doing my own stuff properly. If you become naggy in future, right, and your kids say these type of things about you, it's because most of the time the kids just not doing what they're supposed to do, and you have no choice. But they're your kids, right? And if they're teenagers, they are probably going to be like that, so you also no choice. It's just telling you, so if you ever become naggy next time, don't feel too bad about it, you know.
Then you can tell me.
How would I know? I'm not in your house.
But if I ever nag at my kid, you'll probably see it, right?
I'll be, then what do you want me to say in front of your kid? Why are you nagging your kid?
No. Tell me personally.
No, and
Like
no.
privately.
Let's say your kid always don't clean your room.
You have become someone that you said you will never become.
Let me ask you, what is the alternative? Let's say your kid, you always ask your kid to go and clean their room, and then they don't want to clean their room until you're at the point you look at them and then you say,
Okay, right now, right, you ask me, right, I'll just let the room stink.
what if there are cockroaches?
I'll just spray the cockroaches, but then I'll spray the insect repellent. I'll just leave like the mess, like if they don't want to clean up. Because I believe it will come to a point that they get sick of it and they clean up
A breaking
themselves.
point,
Like,
okay.
I'm not going to. Yeah, I won't. Like right now, you ask me.
Okay.
Because I'm the type that like to watch the world burn.
Uh,
I'll just let the situation go out of hand, and
I am the sort that like to leave my shit all over the place. So that always annoys my mom. Then she always say like, can you clean up your stuff? And I also, right, like I like to leave my things around, and then when I look at it, I'll be like, that I won't keep it one. So yeah, that's why I say sometimes I deserve to get nagged, and there's nothing my mother can do, right, apart from nagging me harder, right, to get me to clean it up. There's really nothing she can do.
it's either nagging at you or she clean out herself.
Exactly. But you know, it's like I leave my stuff, and my house is pretty big, so I leave my stuff everywhere. It's very difficult, and it's not her job to come and clean up after me, especially since I'm so old. So that's what I mean. Like, if next time you're nagging at your kid like that, right? What? Even if I tell you, you become very naggy. What can you do to? What can you do? You cannot do anything, what? If it's your entire house, what are you gonna do? You just go leave everything and then be like, no, I must run. And this is also something I learned from my counselling class, that your kids' threshold for mess, right? This I think is very obvious. Teenagers' threshold for mess is much higher than adults. So you cannot beat your kid in this area one. They will just be messier than you, and they can look at something very messy and be like, it looks fine to me. It really looks okay. And then they will just walk off. Unless you go in and say, no, it's not. Clean it up.
I really just don't want to be the naggy mom.
Okay, I hope so. I hope next time you will not be the naggy mom. Okay, this is a bit...
Okay, what do you think of like caning your kids?
I don't know. I feel very divided on this.
Same.
Because, I don't know, it's like...
Right now, I say I wouldn't.
I didn't grow up getting caned. I didn't get caned with a cane, but my mother did beat my hand with a ruler.
Okay, so there's physical punishment.
Yeah, so it's physical punishment. What do we think of physical punishment?
No, I feel like if you want to do it right, you need to make sure the kid knows what they are doing wrong. Because my mom used a cane, but sometimes I don't know what I did wrong. So now I think of it, right, I really, really hate it.
Okay. I say now also I will try not to use the cane. I will not buy a cane. Okay, I will just say I will not buy a cane, because if I wanted to smack someone, I would smack them with my hands.
Right.
Yeah.
It's better to fight without a weapon, right?
It's not. I think with cane sometimes.
Yeah, but I wouldn't buy the cane. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy it.
I don't know. Okay, based on TV, right? I see sometimes people when they get angry, right? When they're angry and tired, right? They cannot control them. They cannot control how hard they hit, or they are just taking out their anger on their kids. So I wouldn't even like buy.
So you're afraid that?
Yeah, I wouldn't even buy a cane to be there.
No, but what if your kid really do something very bad?
I will smack
To
them.
ruin your day.
I was not ruin my day,
Yeah,
but if they're doing
whoop
something,
their ass,
if they're doing something bad in general, like if they are,
and they purposely break your plates.
yeah,
For
that one
fun.
I will.
I will whoop their ass. I really will whoop. Oh, shit, I cannot be the fun.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting
Yeah,
question
yeah.
because the beliefs last time are so different. Last time people used to think that if you don't physically discipline your kids, right, that they will turn out very spoiled. But now people think like, if you physically discipline your kids, it's considered abuse.
Abuse. It's like the teachers. Last time teachers, they can cane the students. But now if you do that, right, wow.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's why it's such a great area. Not for teachers. I agree teachers should not be able to touch your kids. But for parents, because some parents, right, yeah, the line to draw for you to be like abused and for it to be disciplined is a bit hard, especially when you're talking about like legally, like, if you want to. Sometimes people hit their kids until it's the extent of abuse, but where is the line of abuse? You know what I mean? So speaking of like physical punishment and abuse, right? So just to give some how to say, like what I mean example, right? So I found this article. This man held his 9-year-old son upside down, hit him with a hanger several times and forcefully kicked him, all because of some mistakes the boy made in his homework. The worst thing of this article, the father was only jailed for 4 months.
No, this one is really abuse to me, because
Of course.
doesn't match the severity of the problem.
Yeah, I think that is the problem with physical punishment, is that how do you know what is considered appropriate?
A match.
Yeah, appropriate.
This is definitely inappropriate.
Of course. No, okay, so I also wanted to put this article, right, because I remember reading this many years ago, and then I remember somebody said in the comment section, right, that now the kid's so weak. Last time my father beat me with chair and I still respect the man, right? Now the kids no respect. See, this is the type of parents, right, that I will go online, right, I will go to their comment, right, and say that is a parent who should not be a parent. I would be a shamer. Yeah, I would shame you. I would tell you straight up, do not have kids. Okay, if you think that beating a boy until he end up in hospital is a sign of a weak boy, I will tell you straight in your face, do not have any kids. And I feel sorry for your existing ones.
Okay, we should have a verbal agreement. Like if I'm a bad parent, right? If I ever be a bad parent, right? Please tell me. Because I feel like a lot of times, right? These bad parents, right? They don't do it on purpose.
Okay, let's not say if you become a bad parent. If you start making questionable decisions, okay? I feel like bad
okay.
parents, we are really talking about those really, really horrible parents. Now we are talking about the grey area,
Okay.
which is where every parent lies, right? Kind of in the grey area because nobody's perfect. So if you start doing questionable things, I will let you know.
Okay.
And if I start doing questionable things also, you can let me know.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all for our episode today. Thank you so much for joining us, and let us know your comments, especially if you are a parent. Let us know some of your horrible children stories. We would like to know. I mean, we're talking about horrible parents today, but there are tons of horrible kids out there as well. So yeah, maybe we can talk about that next time. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye!
Bye.